Hi everyone, and welcome to our 6-week cook-along course. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so bear with me if I'm not that good at it. And yeah, we'll just get going. So if any of you have any questions at any point, then feel free to ask Lindsay, or you can message me through my Facebook group, which is called First Bites Lanarkshire. And I'm also not sure of what skill level you are, so I'm kind of pitching this as if you haven't done much cooking, so my apologies if it's a wee bit basic, but I'm hoping that all of you can learn a wee bit from it. And originally this was going to be a weaning course, but because a lot of your babies are now beyond that age, I've just kind of thrown together a bunch of healthy family recipes that you can all enjoy together, and your babies can eat. Most of these recipes are suitable for babies from about 6 months, or at least from about 8 months, so at some point in the weaning process. But I'll let you know what age the foods are suitable for as we cook the foods. So I'm sure you all know that giving your child regular, healthy, well-balanced meals is really important for their development, mental well-being, and their physical health as well. So there are 4 main food groups that, and you should provide foods from all of these food groups for your wee ones. So your food groups are your fruit and veg, which are full of fibre and vitamins and minerals and all sorts of good things. Then there are carbohydrates, so that's your starchy foods, so things like bread, rice, pasta, and cereals. And then you've got your protein foods, so these are things like obviously your meat, your poultry, and then your sort of plant-based sources of protein, which would be things like peas, lentils, beans, and things like tofu, and also nuts and seeds. And then your last food group is your dairy, or if you are vegan, your dairy substitutes. So, and for this age, for kids under 2, you want to be using whole milk, so your blue milk, and obviously that's suitable to use in cooking for babies from 6 months to a year. You can use your blue milk in cooking. You're also welcome to use breast milk or infant formula between 6 months and a year in your cooking, whatever you prefer. And then from 1 year you can use cow's milk as your baby's main drink. But again, use whole milk until they reach 2. Okay, anything else? Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention, sort of nutrition-wise for the moment, would be just make sure that your wee one also has foods that are high in iron from 6 months. So foods high in iron would be things like red meat, beans, peas, and lentils, nuts, seeds, green leafy veg, and those kind of things. Right, I think that's all. Yeah, and apart from nutrition, I think one thing that I wanted to mention was just as well as what you give your baby to eat, it's really important how you eat. So try where you can to sit with your baby or your wee one and eat with them, because you are their role models, and they'll copy what you do. So it's really important that you make it a positive, sort of happy experience, the eating experience. Right, enough of my chat. Let's get to it. So just a wee word on food hygiene. You want to make sure that your kitchen is sort of clean and tidy before you start. If you've got an apron, pop it on. If you've got long hair, tie it back. And obviously always wash your hands. We're well versed at the moment in washing our hands. So I'm just going to go and wash my hands. Okay, so today we're going to be making 2 oaty breakfasts. The first one's going to be just a simple porridge, but we're going to add some pear to it. And then the second one is going to be overnight oats, which some of you might have already tried. It's really easy, it's really delicious, and a really lovely food for wee ones because it's really easy to eat. So both of these are tasty, they're nutritious, and they're quick and easy to make. Another good breakfast that you could try would be an egg-based breakfast, so just like scrambled eggs on toast. Also takes a couple of minutes, very healthy and nutritious, and suitable for wee ones from 6 months. So, and then after we've done the 2 recipes, I'm going to have a wee look at breakfast cereals, so helping you to choose the sort of healthier breakfast cereals, and just talking you through how you would read a label on the packet, and choose the healthier options for you and your wee ones. Right, okay, so let's start with the pear porridge. So all we need for the pear porridge is obviously a pear, and then some oats and milk. So you can use, as I said, you could use your whole milk, so I've just got my blue milk here, but if you wanted, if your baby's younger, sort of near that 6 month mark, and you've just started weaning, sometimes it's nice for them to have infant formula or breast milk in the food, just because they're familiar with that taste. Okay, but it's up to you what you use. If you don't want to use cow's milk and you'd rather use a plant-based alternative, that's totally fine, but just make sure you use an unsweetened and calcium fortified plant-based milk, whether it's oat milk or almond milk or whatever. Okie dokie, so first thing we're going to do, I've got the pear here, and just need to wash the pear, so I'm going to go and wash the pear. Right, so first thing we do is just grate the pear. If you want to, if you're not keen on skin, or your wee one doesn't like skin that much, you can peel the pear and just use a carrot peeler to peel the pear. I'm just going to grate the whole thing because I like the skin, adds fibre. And I just grate round the core, so I just grate and then turn it 90 degrees and grate again. Okie dokie. So I've got my pear grated. Now all we do is we turn on the hob. And you want to put the hob at about a medium heat. So low to medium heat. And we're just going to pop in the oats. So I'm cooking sort of 2 adult portions, and that would be about one adult and two portions for the wee one. So you can adjust accordingly, and I'm just using a cup. So I've got a teacup here, and I filled the cup to about an inch short of the top, so to about here. So it's like an old-fashioned granny teacup. I'm going to pop them in the pan, and then with porridge it's always double milk to your oats. So there's 1 cup of milk and another cup. Just give that a wee stir. And then we're going to just wait for that to heat up. Oh, and I'm going to add my pear. So pop your pear in. Give it another stir. And if you wanted at this stage, you could add something like cinnamon, a wee pinch of cinnamon if you like that. It's totally up to you, or you can leave it quite plain. It's quite nice to get your babies used to different flavours. So once they've had their single tastes at the beginning of the weaning process, you can start adding bits and pieces of spices, because it's nice for them to get experience of different flavours and not just be eating bland things all the time. So while we're waiting for that to heat up, I wanted to just have a wee chat about another addition that you could add. So I've got a jar of smooth peanut butter here. So I quite like that in my porridge. I just, stir sort of a tablespoon of that into my porridge. Nut butters are a really great way of getting sort of high calorie and protein and fibre into your wee ones' diets. So you can get really good peanut butter and almond butter at Lidl and Aldi. Those are my favourite ones, and they're much cheaper than any of the other shops. Just make sure that you get the ones that have no salt and no sugar added. So it says on the front here it's 100% nuts. So that's the one that you really want to go for, and there's an almond butter that's the same, it's just 100% nuts. Obviously peanuts and other nuts are allergens, so what you want to do is you want to make sure when you start them in your wee one's diet, any of the allergens, so eggs, fish, milk products, nuts and wheat and things like that, you want to start them one at a time. Start them early on in the day, and then just observe for any reaction to the food, and you just do one at a time, so that you know which allergen your baby's reacted to, if that makes sense. So yeah, don't put it in another food for your baby to try. Make sure you just give them a wee sort of half teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon to try on its own, and wait for a reaction. And if they don't react, you know that they're fine with it, and then you can add that into their diet regularly, and that's fine. But the nut butters are a really great way to add, sort of healthy protein and fats into your wee one's diet. Really good on toast or bread, even as a dip or whatever. So yeah. Those are good. Right, my porridge is bubbling away here. So just keep giving it a stir. And really it'll take about 5 minutes or so until it thickens up. So you want it to get to boiling basically, and to be kind of, when the bubbles start appearing, and to be sort of boiling or simmering away for a while, and that will thicken it up and give it that lovely creamy consistency, and you want to keep stirring it regularly so it gets that creamy consistency. So porridge is a really good breakfast. I think it's especially nice in the winter when it's cold outside. Nice to give yourselves and your wee ones something warm in their tummies. But it's also quite a good one to give them before bed. We still give my wee girl Eva, who's almost 2, we give her a bowl of porridge just before bed to help her sleep through the night. Anything to help them sleep through the night is good. Right, so it's thickening up nicely. Yeah, and another thing that I just wanted to mention about porridge oats is that you can use regular porridge oats. These are just Tesco's own brand, from 6 months, no problem at all. So you can use them. You don't have to buy baby specific porridge or whatever from 6 months. You can just use regular adult ones and they're absolutely fine. I would buy the rolled oats instead of the, you know, the jumbo oats, because they're a finer consistency. But baby porridge is more expensive than your adult version, and your adult version is totally fine, your regular version. They're just trying to make money off you, so don't be scammed. And also beware that in baby porridge, like baby rice or whatever, generally if it's a flavoured porridge or rice, they'll have added some kind of sweetener or something into it. So you want to buy your plain porridge oats or your plain baby porridge or your plain baby rice to make sure that no sweetness has been added. Right, I think that's me, so I'm going to turn that off the hob, and then if I can show you there, that's the sort of consistency you're going for. So you can see that's lovely and creamy, really nice consistency for baby. And then you just pop it in a couple of bowls. So that's for baby, that's for you. And there's another wee portion left over. And that's it. So I've got a wee portion left over there. And you can keep you can actually keep porridge and reheat it. So you can pop it in the fridge, make sure it's covered in an airtight container in the fridge, and you could keep it for up to 3 days. And you would just pop it in the microwave or on the hob again in a pot, but just add some milk, stir in some milk before you reheat it, and make sure you always reheat things until they're piping hot. Right, and that is it. Nice and easy, pear porridge. And the last thing, of course, with the nut butter, you just stir in a wee spoonful at this point if you wanted to do that. Yeah, and that's it. Right, I'm just going to get rid of these. And this. Right, so moving on to the next thing, we are going to do overnight oats now. So again, using your lovely healthy oats. We're going to use the weighing scale for this one. So let me just turn to my recipe. We're going to use an apple for this, so I'm going to wash an apple. Right, and we're just going to mix everything in a bowl. So we're going to use an apple, we're going to use oats again, we are going to use some sultanas or raisins. Now I know that a lot of people really don't like sultanas and raisins, so if you don't like them, obviously just don't use them, don't put them in, it's totally lovely without them. And in here, in this jar here, I have cinnamon, so this is some cinnamon as well. Right, so again, we're going to grate the apple. Right, there we go. And we're just going to pop that in the bowl. And add 50 grams of porridge oats. There we go. I'm going to use sultanas because I like sultanas, so we're going to add 20 grams of them. That'll do. And then a quarter of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Now some of you might have measuring spoons where you can use the exact quantity of, so you'd measure exactly a quarter of a teaspoon, or you can just guess. I'm just going to guess. I've got my teaspoon, I think that's probably about a quarter of a teaspoon, so I'm just going to pop that in. And some milk. So for this recipe you can use water or milk to soak the oats. I'm going to use some milk. So it's just 100 millilitres of milk, so you're going to measure that out. That's a wee bit too much actually. That'll do. Yep, that'll do. So we're going to pop that in. And then just use a spoon and stir it together. And again, same as with the raisins, if you don't like cinnamon, don't add it. You don't have to add the things that you don't like. So that's it, we've just mixed that together. And then you leave that for several hours or overnight to soak. And the oats get nice and soft and squishy. Right, so I'm just going to cover that up with a plate. I'm just going to cover that up and pop it in the fridge. Okay, so once it's soaked overnight or for several hours, you're going to add some yogurt. It's 100 grams of yogurt that you add. Right, so here we go. Right, that'll do. So mix that up. And then you're going to pop it into some bowls. So some for baby, and then some for you. And then we're just going to pop some nice fresh fruit on top. So So whatever you want, I mean basically you can use anything. Obviously for your wee ones, if they haven't got teeth yet, you want to use your soft fruits. So things like banana and berries are good. But really just whatever you like. At the moment there's lovely fruit like nectarines and peaches and all those good things, so you just use whatever you like and whatever your baby likes. So just some slices of banana. And then I've got some berries here. Just going to chop some strawberries. And I've got some blueberries. And this is really great because if you've already done the prep the night before, you just mix it together. It takes a couple of minutes the night before, and then in the morning all you do is mix in the yogurt, top it with some more fruit if you want, and then all done. So really quick, easy and delicious breakfast. Pop these to the side. It's back in the fridge. Okay, so we've got two lovely breakfast examples there that hopefully you will try out. I'm sure many of you already eat things like porridge, so that's great. But obviously a lot of people like to eat breakfast cereals, which are totally fine, but some of them are much better than others. And I just wanted to have a quick chat with you about how to choose the healthier ones and how you know which ones are better than others. Right, so I've got a selection of breakfast cereals here. So I've got Weetabix, and we'll include our porridge oats as well. We've got Weetabix, we've got porridge oats, and then we've got a whole selection of little boxes. So we've got Shreddies, we've got Cheerios, we've got Nesquik, Frosted Shreddies, Frosties, Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies, cornflakes and shredded wheat. So on all pre-packaged foods, you've got, if you turn to the back, or sometimes it's at the side, you'll see the ingredients. So it's always good to have a quick check of the ingredients, and the ingredients are actually listed from the main ingredient from the biggest to the smallest ingredient, basically. So Weetabix, for example, the biggest ingredient is whole grain wheat, and it's 95% whole grain wheat. So that already tells you that that's a healthy food, right? Because there's nothing, because you know it's 95% good stuff, basically. If something has sugar as its first ingredient, that's not a good thing. You want to put it back on the shelf. Okay, so you look at the ingredients list, but what I want to concentrate on here is the grid. So there's usually a little table, and on the table, on the top it says per 100 grams, and sometimes it says per serving, and there's a list then of components. So that's your nutrients. So at the top it says energy, and then it says fat, of which saturates. So the saturates are your unhealthy fats. Then it says carbohydrates, of which sugars. Then it says fiber, then it says protein, then it says salt. So what we're going to concentrate on today is, in your cereals, is sugar per 100 grams and fiber per 100 grams. So you might want to take a wee note of this, but if sugar is lower than 5 grams per 100 grams, it means that something is low in sugar. If it's higher than 22.5 grams per 100 grams, then it's high in sugar. And anything between 5 grams and 22.5 grams is medium sugar. Okay, so for fiber, if it's higher than 6 grams per 100 grams, it means the food is high in fiber. And if it is between 3 and 6 grams, it means it's a source of fibre. And if it's lower than 3 grams, it means it's low in fibre. Right, so let's categorise our cereals. So in our low sugar category, we have Weetabix, oats, shredded wheat, and these are your plain shredded wheat. And I think that's it. In your medium category, we have Shreddies, we have Cheerios, we have Rice Krispies, we have Corn Flakes, and we have Kellogg's Cocoa Pops, although this is only because Kellogg's fairly recently, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, they changed their recipe. So it used to be in the high sugar category, but they changed the recipe and it's now in the medium sugar category. But a lot of supermarket owned brands of Choco Snaps or whatever they call them would still be in the high category. So Cocoa Pops, Kellogg's Cocoa Pops are in the medium, and then in your high category over here are Frosties, Frosted Shreddies, and Nesquik. Okay, so your low sugar cereals are also high in fibre, so these are the best options. So your Weetabix, oats, and your shredded wheat, your plain shredded wheat, are your best options. Okay options are your Cheerios, your original Shreddies, your Rice Krispies, Cocoa Pops, it's kind of teetering on the edge, and then Corn Flakes. And of those, the highest in fibre would be Cheerios, Shreddies, and Corn Flakes is a source of fibre. Rice Krispies is low in fibre. Okay? And then you really want to try and avoid the cereals that are high in sugar. So your things like your Frosties, your Frosted Shreddies, your Nesquik, anything like that, you want to try and avoid those. Okay? I hope that's clear. I hope that's a wee bit helpful, and I really hope that you try these recipes. I know that Lindsay's going to be delivering all the ingredients, so I look forward to hearing whether you've made them and what you think of them. If you think they're rubbish, then let me know, and all feedback is welcome. And yeah, otherwise have a good week, and I will see you next time when we'll be making lentil soup. Alright, cheers, bye.